Hi, I'm Karen with the Pokey Dragon, and today I'll be demonstrating how I paint my India ink paintings, if you will. So all I used was watercolor paper, 140 pound cold pressed Canson, pretty standard stuff. And I'm also rotating a pen that I'm using, which is a Faber Castell India ink waterproof black artist pen. So off camera I have basically a jar of water. And I do stuff because I wasn't really planning this out very well, apparently. Here we go. So now we use the P.H. Martin's, Dr. P.H. Martin Bombay India ink. Give it a little shaky. So I just have water in the little paint wells. And I put a couple drops of paint. Ink. It's ink, not paint. Don't listen to me, I'm crazy. Stop. Me. Okay. And then we just fill up the little wells. And I'm just using like a little dropper tool. I have the water in a separate container. I just kind of use the bottle to let the drippies drip into a bottle. So I'm using blue, teal, and black for this. And the brushes I use are basically just regular, nothing special, nothing fancy acrylic brushes. I got from Michael's probably too long ago, but I'm not really worried about them with the bristles. So basically I just paint water onto the drawing. I'm gonna speed that up for you so it's not so tedious. I mean, it's still a little tedious, but you know, at least you're just watching it. I had to actually do this. It's totally ridiculous. So you gotta work quick, because as you can see in the top, the water does start to dry, obviously, very quickly. You want to keep the water where you're painting, so just got to be careful that you don't go outside the lines of where you want to be. And then all you have to do is just pick up the pigment from the ink and dab it onto the paper. So I did not put enough black ink. I kind of wanted to make sure that the pigmented water, if you will, wasn't too dark, because it's obviously easier to add than subtract. But here's a cool little fun effect. It just kind of squiggles down. So it stays in the water. It's attracted to the water, not to the dry paper. So I have to add a little bit of black ink. It's a little bit better. And it's kind of fun the way it bleeds out. I think it's fascinating anyway. I also kind of hold the paper down very carefully because it kind of buckles a little bit with the water. And I also use the back of the paintbrush to kind of push the paper back down so that the ink doesn't pool up in sections of the drawing. then you can just tilt the paper and move the ink around. Off camera I have a paper towel there, so you can kind of dry off your brush, and then it will act as a little sponge to soak some of the pooling ink back up. And then you just grab another brush and add another color. So I didn't wait for the ink to dry, and obviously the teal kind of bled into the black, but it was okay because I kind of wanted the tail to be another color anyway. Then you just kind of layer colors in. You don't want to go too heavy. I found that if you pull the ink right from the bottle and put it on the wet paper, it leaves a weird sheen when it dries. So that's why I kind of water it down, so it's easier to layer up. But once it's down, so you can just you don't have to worry about the layers underneath getting wet like watercolor and then coming back up. Oops. That's okay. You can just kind of move the paper around and bend it. It's kind of fun. So the bird's belly kind of dried out, so I was able to kind of layer on some wet ink and kind of sop up some of the pooling other pigments around and kind of blend them in. And then just use clear water to kind of re-wet some of the areas, and then that pulls the ink into those areas. So it's another way to do it. I know this is time-lapse and all, but you do have to move quick with this stuff because it does start to dry down. As you can see there at the base of the tail, it kind of dried down again. So kind of had to add water back into it and get that black back in and get those colors kind of going. You can also use the paper towel directly on it to sop up creepy brontosaurus arms. Anyway, to sop up the inks that are pooling. And then you just kind of clean the brush out when you're done right away. And as you can see, they're perfectly fine. You just kind of swirl them around the water, gently dry them off on a paper towel, and totally fine. I tried to show you the third one I used, but it had black bristles to begin with, so That was like a half-hour dry time, not too bad. So now I'm kind of taking the black ink and the teal ink, and I wanted to kind of mute it down a little bit. The trick is with the India ink is while it's still wet, clean things as you go. That way things don't get ruined. It's just a color test. Sneaky peeky. Inside joke. I apologize. one person laughed. I just know it. Here's a cat hair. Get rid of that. That bear cat. He's so fuzzy. His hairs fall all over my house. So what I drew here was I kind of wanted to draw a crane. But I didn't really want to do a real crane. I want to do a fantasy crane. So I was kind of inspired by the birds of paradise with the color schemes. They're kind of black, especially so I believe it was the lesser bird of paradise. Anyways, and they have those fantastic feathers on their tails, and so that's kind of what I was going for here, was a crane of paradise, if you will. Oh, suddenly paint. That was, so this is a metallic paint that I got. It's a metallic green, olive green, Lumiere. Lumiere? Or is it Lumiere? Anyways. Came with it was a set, 6 colors, metallics. There was like a blue, a pearlescent, gold, copper, silver. I think I got them on Amazon. They weren't too bad. Not too expensive. I believe I got them on some sort of deal of the day thing. They're really pretty. So I just kind of paint in on the sections that I wanted the pop of metallic. So it has a pretty cool sheen to it. And then I just need to go in and clean some stuff up. So basically, I just go back in with my upside down pen. There you go. And kind of go over the lines where the ink kind of covered up the black pen lines, and just kind of make them darker, fill them in. Get that eye back in there. Doesn't work terribly well over the paint, but it's okay. So a little zoom in here, you can kind of see there's some mistakes on the back where the paint kind of bled. There's some on the tail. Cat hair. I get it later, don't worry. I don't see it now, but I'll get it. Just be patient. Suddenly paint. Okay, so all I use is just a cheap paint I got from Michael's. Cheap, inexpensive, budget friendly, whatever you want to say. Just kind of fill in little overlays. And then I proceed to forget that I zoomed in, do some fixes, and so we'll just cut to the finish. So you can kind of see, especially there on the back, it's not quite dry yet, but it's kind of filled it in. I missed between the legs, but whatever. Don't judge me. See, cat hair gone. Told ya. So thank you for watching. If you liked it, hit that like button. Subscribe. Bye.